The wind swept across the rugged mountains of the Ours, carrying whispers of a nation waiting to be free. For 132 years, France ruled Algeria not as a colony, but as an extension of its territory. Algeria was labelled France's jewel, but only for those who benefited from its land. For the indigenous Algerians, life was a long shadow of inequality. French settlers, the Pied-Noirs, controlled the best farmland, businesses, and political rights. Algerians were treated as second-class humans in their own homeland. Their identity, religion, and dignity were constantly suppressed. The fire of resentment smoldered for decades. But in 1954, it finally erupted. On the night of November 1st, 1954, explosions echoed across Algeria. Bridges, police posts, communication lines, all targeted at once. A new organization stepped out of the shadows. The FLN, Front de Liberation National. In their first declaration, they wrote, "The restoration of the Algerian state, sovereign and democratic." France dismissed them at first. A few rebels? A disturbance? It would be crushed in weeks. But the FLN was not a small group. It was the voice of a nation that had been silent for too long. The mountains became the first battlefield. Poorly armed but determined, FLN fighters struck swiftly. Ambushes, hit-and-run attacks, sabotage. The French army responded with overwhelming force. Helicopter raids, mass arrests, torture in secret prisons, village burnings, internment camps. Entire communities were uprooted. But instead of weakening the resistance, the brutality strengthened it. Every village destroyed created new fighters. Every arrest created new supporters. Every death deepened the resolve of the Algerian people. By 1956, the FLN was no longer a small insurgency. It had become a nationwide movement. Then came the turning point. The war spilled into the capital. FLN cells in Algiers launched a strategic campaign of bombs, assassinations, and urban resistance. Women played a courageous role, disguising themselves as French citizens to slip past checkpoints and deliver explosive devices. France deployed 10,000 paratroopers to crush the rebellion. What followed was one of the most infamous chapters of the war. Systematic torture, disappearances, and collective punishment. The entire world watched in horror. Although the French army claimed tactical victory in Algiers, they suffered a greater loss, global moral legitimacy. The question spread across Europe, Africa, and the United Nations. How can a great nation claim liberty and equality while torturing another people? The FLN opened new fronts across the desert, cities, and borders. Support grew from Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco. France sank deeper into crisis. $1 billion spent on war. Soldiers deployed indefinitely. Revolts among the French settlers. Public protests erupting in Paris. The war tore France apart politically, leading to government collapse after collapse. By 1958, the crisis was so severe that France begged Charles de Gaulle to return to power. He did. But he knew one truth. France could win battles, but it could no longer win the war. Secret talks began. The FLN demanded a full, independent Algeria. France hesitated. The settlers protested. The army rebelled. Coup attempts shook Algiers. Still, the FLN would not compromise. As fighting escalated, de Gaulle finally accepted reality. The age of colonial empires was ending. Algeria would be free. March 18, 1962. After months of negotiations, the Evian Accords were signed. A ceasefire. A referendum. A new beginning. On July 1, 1962, millions of Algerians voted almost unanimously. Yes to independence. And on July 5, 1962, after 132 years of occupation, Algeria declared freedom. Crowds filled the streets. Prayers soared from mosques. Flags waved in every village. Families wept for the dead, yet celebrated for the living. The cost had been enormous. Over 1 million Algerians lost their lives. But the nation had risen. And the French Empire had broken. The Algerian War reminds us that freedom is never free, and the price of liberation is often paid in blood, sacrifice, and unwavering courage. If this story moved you, share it, like it, and subscribe to keep powerful African history alive. Tell these stories. Pass them on. Keep Africa's voice strong.